Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. I'm gonna do a quick update on Cardano ADA. In this video, we're gonna cover liquidation levels news, where it stands Cardano relative to the rest of the altcoin market as of today. I'm gonna show you a potential setup on the daily time frame, a squeeze that is about to explode. But without forgetting that on the weekly, we have less expectations than the previous expansive waves. I'll explain what that means in terms of dollars. And hey, watch out, because in the previous cycle, Cardano was an early lever. And if that happened again, that could mean that Cardano has already done its tricks. If you want to trade Cardano or any other altcoin and have no issues at all, go for Bluffing Exchange. This one is giving an iPhone 17 for free just by trading enough volume and depositing enough. But make no mistake, whatever deposit and whatever trading volume you get, you're gonna get the rewards in USDT in your account if you use the link in the description. Let's go straight into the RSI. What do you think? This is the most important momentum analysis tool in this channel. And on the weekly, it's telling us a lot of things. It looks like a painting from a toddler, but believe me, there's a lot to dig in here already. Cardano did already two waves. Number one, in this cycle. Yeah, one got into 82, the second one into 85. But each wave was finished. The first one didn't put a lower low, neither the second one. So we've been looking for a third wave. But what's going on in here? We are still in the area of the accumulation, just like this area in here and that area there. We are already progressing. We have put higher lows and higher highs outside the breakout. So we are in this period, right? It could be that we are about to put a third expansive wave into potentially 87 RSI. That will be fantastic. But we need to keep lever grounded, our feet on earth before we start calling for 87 RSI. You know what is 87 RSI on the weekly on Cardano? $3 stupid. That is big upside. So we need to be careful when we start aiming for too high. What is in the way to achieve this at the moment? There's a bunch of things that we need to cover in this video. First of all, we achieved already 3 times a revenge rally from the lost support. After the second wave, we lost the support. We came here, hidden divergence, lower low, breakout. But in here we have the first revenge rally. It lost the level and it came to the scene of the crime, put in a new low, came back to the same level, low, back to the same level, trying to reclaim but failing. And here we are with a bearish momentum pattern, slightly like a flag, and we have some resistance incoming at 53.53. If we can overcome that resistance, next, a realistic target, a conservative one, is to do a fourth wave of a revenge rally into 63. We really need to claim that 63 as support. Similar to what we did in here, right? Eventually we break beyond the 50 and we go all the way to 85. That's massive. In this timing, we need to break 63 to repeat the same trick. But here's the thing. Cardano in the past cycle put an all-time high way before Bitcoin put the second top of 69. Yeah, it did it on the first wave, not on the last one. So when Bitcoin was trading at 69, Cardano couldn't put a higher high. So that's slightly disappointing, even for me, that I'm still holding my bag. So I really want upside, but I want to stay realistic and I want to apply risk management in case Cardano does a puke again, which is the way I'm referring to Bitcoin putting a new all-time high and Cardano not doing anything about it. You don't believe me? Okay, where is the all-time high in Cardano? It's on September, and that is $3. When Bitcoin in November was putting the all-time high of 69, you can see that Cardano say, I'm going home, 2.37. That is all this bastard did when Bitcoin put 69. So that is a big warning alert for traders that are expecting Bitcoin to go into 150. Let's say we get into 150. Wouldn't you be a little bit more cautious with Cardano not really going for $5 or something with a new all-time high? I would, at least. So levels we need to watch out for. A breakout from 53 with a realistic 63.11 next resistance on the weekly. 87, yeah, beautiful. It will be awesome, sure. Can we get there? We'll see. 44.53 is a level if that 53 now descending resistance sends us back down. Do we have likelihood that we could do that? It is possible, guys, because this is currently holding the 50, but if it pukes that 50, it can easily go to the 44 and pinch that level. So now let's go into the price. Let's find all those levels. That support level, if we puke, we go to 68. We need to see what liquidity is at 68. Take note, remember it. Currently, we are being held by 80 cents, but if we lose 80 cents, 68 is extremely easy. Now, if we break on the 53 and we do a journey into 63, what is that doing in the price? Something very easy. We break beyond 85 and we go into $1. So now at $1 and at $68, what liquidity do we have? Do we have anything that sustains the rally or the crash? Is there any motivation from the point of view of liquidity? Let's look into trading different. And yes, we do have some motivation. Here at 66, we have the peak of the liquidity. We have a middle ground at 75, but the highest is 66. That's there. And if we come back down in here, and from here we go into the red liquidity, that could be a scenario. At that point, the RSI daily will put a new low and it will break out from an area of additional, much better risk to reward. So an entry from here, in my opinion, is much better. Am I going to enter there? No. I already hold Cardano from the bear market and I'm looking for exit. My focus is not on nailing the best entry at the moment. Notice that we might not go to 68. We might straight away break out from here, in which case you're going to see that the triangle squeeze on the daily goes straight into $1. Then after that, we have the $1.2. Two levels that are very interesting to the upside. To the downside, 75 and 68 are the most interesting. I'm going to reserve the 50 cents for the bear market. That breaks the whole structure of the squeeze. Notice that on a triangle, you can fake out and still go up, or you can fake out to the upside, go to 1 and still go down. Careful with the symmetrical triangles, guys. Cardano on CryptoQuant is showing taker sell is dominant. That means that people are selling on spot at the moment at market prices without really caring that much. Let me show you some charts. You can see that we are in an area like this where taker sell is the reducing. That tends to happen around a local top. So this particular sustains the idea of potentially going into 68. It's not the only data point in the world, of course. There's other data points like this one that says that we are in an area of accumulation because the futures volume bubble map is currently cooling down. That means that we have come enough down to no longer have an elevated amount of longs that could risk this to really be a top based on futures. And please do not miss my analysis of ADA against Ethereum. This is a lot of insights. I also have a level that we have never ever visited in history in this particular chart that I'm going to show you later. But let's go into some news. Cardano price, the breakout level every trader is watching. ADA held 80 cents support while Coinbase ADA reserves jump from 1.7 million to 9.7 million signals. Accumulation, demand pressure. Analysts call resistance zone around the $1 level. That's a 7 out of 10 bullish, 6 moderate. Cardano hits 1 million transactions. 8 out of 10, Cardano could see soon major stablecoin launch. A tier 1 stablecoin launch on Cardano will materially deepen its DeFi liquidity ecosystem, increasing native demand and use. Of course, having the chance to have USDC straight there is going to bring a lot of other coins to trade, including meme coins and all that stuff. So let's look at Ethereum against ADA, the opposite, ADA over Ethereum. And you can see first that we got resistance at 5, okay? That is a level this cycle after the bull cycle we hit in the bear market twice, and we recently hit it in March in 2025 thanks to going into the 1.3 level dollar. At that point, we were overperforming Ethereum clearly. That point also, the Z-score was peaking and starting to decline. I can see that the Z-score is kind of building momentum in here. We have support coming in on a ascending trend line, and also on the RSI we see the same effect on the momentum. These are different things. This is levels of deviation away from the median, whereas the RSI is momentum itself. So I will say that both RSI and Z-score are in the area of value. This is when talking about a flip of Ethereum into Cardano, which I'm not going to take myself. I barely accumulated Ethereum. I'm not going to flip it for Cardano when I'm already holding the big bag from the bear market on Cardano. So not for me, not financial advice. This is an area of value with some likelihood of playing out. Who knows if it's going to play out again. But in the actual chart, that is this area that then move up against Ethereum 100%. That's this area that then it moved 300%. And we are in this area in here that could have additional drawdown, sure. But then after it built an area of accumulation waiting for Ethereum, it could do 100, 200, somewhere around that area. RSI has higher highs, higher lows, so it's looking like Cardano really wants to do something against Ethereum. And if you look into the MFI, I don't use MFI that much, but you can see that very recently on 4th of August, we put the lowest level. This is, think about it as an RSI, but that uses also volume. It doesn't look that different than the RSI, but I still prefer always using RSI. I'm just pointing out the bullish divergence. I think this is a hidden one against the MFI because you have higher lows and lower highs on the MFI. So before I forget the levels of the weekly, coming back for that support that I already called the 68, and on the weekly, that's the $3. Notice that that is within an extension of 2 to 3 over the previous impulsive wave. So really getting into $3 after having achieved this is calling for a little bit too much in my opinion. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's really crazy to do something like this. After a move of 270, this move will be doubling down on that. 500%. Typically, you get a diminishing high in percentages as well with each wave up, not an increasing one, but who knows. I'm more inclined to look into this other pattern that I'm seeing. So my range is the conservative $1, but then I have this line pointing into 154. That target, that range from 154 into $1, I'm interested for distribution. And I'm going to explain why. This flag that we have in here, in my eyes, which are pretty bad, I see a shoulder, a head, and a potential additional shoulder incoming in here, or an alternative shoulder coming in there. Whichever we get, guys, whether it's the small shoulder or the large shoulder that needs to go into the support of 68 cents and liquidate those bastards, it doesn't matter. The target is the high of the head and shoulder, which starts from the point of the break of the neckline, and it can go into 154. That's the technical target, so I'm not expecting to go there with a limit order and a take profit. As soon as we get into 1, if we get there, I put my coins in the exchange and I start trailing in profit, looking for additional upside into 1-2. Once we take that, I tighten the stop loss a bit more and I let it ride into the 1.5. If it consumes all that liquidity and is done for the cycle, then fair enough, I'm done. Obviously, at that point, we're going to be monitoring how this performs if we get that breakout. Very quickly, liquidity on the 3 months is at the 1, price tag on CoinGlass, and the last month, the peak is at 85.9, which is resistance for breaking out. I remind you, on the weekly, that is precisely the weekly RSI 53.53. So we have a confluence of a ton of things. I hope you enjoyed the Cardano analysis and that you go home much better informed than before the video. If you did, hit the like and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.